I live just outside of Philadelphia, which is one of the World Cup 2026 host cities. And I'm telling you right now, this might be one of the most underrated cities to base your entire trip. Not just because of the games, but because of everything else happening here this year. And I'll show you where to stay, how to save money, and how to use Philly as a base, even if you want to get up to New York City for the final match. And here's the part most people aren't thinking about. 2026 isn't just the World Cup. It's also America's 250th birthday. And this is where it all started. Philadelphia is basically ground zero for the entire celebration. So you're going to have events, crowds, and energy here that go way beyond just the World Cup matches. So if you're coming for the World Cup, you're accidentally walking into one of the biggest travel moments this country's had in a long time. Which is exactly why where you stay and how you plan this matters even more. I made a video about Wawa America Fest 2026 here. I'll link that below. Alright, so quickly, let's ground this in the World Cup itself. Philadelphia is hosting matches at Lincoln Financial Field, which is located in South Philly. It's going to be one of the main venues on the East Coast. Now, something that confuses a lot of people, Philadelphia and New York City are both hosting the World Cup, but they're very different experiences. New York is where you're likely going to see the biggest matches, possibly even the final. Philadelphia is more of a balanced experience. Still big games, but a little easier to navigate, and usually a lot more affordable. And that difference is exactly where the opportunity is. And here's where things get really interesting. The World Cup games here in Philly are happening right in the middle of June into early July. This is the exact same window when the America 250 celebrations are ramping up, leading to 4th of July. So if you time this right, you won't just be here for the World Cup. You'll be walking into one of the biggest celebrations this city's ever had, ever. So here's how I would actually plan this trip. Most people are going to look at this and think, I need to stay as close to the stadium as possible, or I should probably just stay in New York. And honestly, that's where a lot of people are going to overspend. What I would do instead is use Philly as my base. Stay here, where it's easier to get around, usually cheaper, and honestly just less overwhelming. And then build your trip around that. Because from here, you're close enough to New York City that you don't have to miss out on anything. You can take a train up, spend a day there, maybe catch a bigger match, and then come back here where everything is just easier. And the difference in cost between staying in New York versus here, especially during the World Cup, can be pretty significant. So instead of building your trip around one city, you're building a smarter trip around a region. We call it the tri-state area. Now, if you're going to do that, the next question is, where exactly should you stay? Alright, so if you're using Philadelphia as your base, here's how I'd think about where to stay. Option 1, Center City. For most people, I'd recommend staying in Center City. This is where you'll find the best mix of hotels, restaurants, and walkability. You're close to everything: public transit, historic areas, and it's easy to get to the stadium. If you're not sure where to stay, this is the safest bet. Option 2, Rittenhouse and Old City. If you want something a little nicer, look at Rittenhouse Square or Old City. Rittenhouse is a little more upscale, great restaurants, really walkable. Old City puts you right in the middle of Philly's historic district, which is going to be especially cool with everything happening for America 250. And it'll still be cheaper than anywhere in New York City. Option 3, outside the city. If you're trying to save money, you can absolutely stay outside the city. Look at areas near the airport or even across the river in New Jersey. You'll save money, but just be prepared to rely a little bit more on driving or rideshare. Common mistake. One thing I would be careful about is staying right next to the stadium. Now, to be fair, there are some great places down there. You've got Xfinity Live, some bars and spots around the complex, and even a hotel nearby. So if your goal is to be right in the middle of that game day energy, that can actually be a fun experience. But just know, you're probably going to pay a premium for it, especially during the World Cup. And outside of game time, there's just not as much to do compared to staying in the city. So for most people, I'd still recommend staying where the city actually is and just traveling to the matches. Alright, so once you've got where you're staying figured out, getting around here is actually pretty straightforward. Public transit. If you're staying in Center City, you can use SEPTA, the local train and subway system, to get pretty much anywhere you need to go, including down to Lincoln Financial Field for the matches. Rideshare and driving. You've also got Uber and Lyft everywhere. And if you're driving, just expect traffic and higher parking costs on game days. Not sure if you've ever seen the A&E TV series Parking Wars, but that originated here in Philly, following the PPA around. Driving in Philly is not for the faint of heart. My wife calls it the United States of Philadelphia, and when it comes to driving, you really do feel like you're in another country. And if you're planning to go up to New York City for a day, you can take Amtrak or Regional Rail. It's usually around an hour to an hour and a half depending on the train. And then there are buses like Megabus or Greyhound, which are usually the cheapest option. They take a little longer depending on traffic, but there's actually a new bus station set up in the city now, making it way more convenient than it used to be. So no matter your budget, getting between Philly and New York is actually really doable. What to do? Alright, so let's say you're not at a match. What do you actually do here? First thing, food. Philadelphia is one of the best food cities in the country. Yeah, you've got cheesesteaks, but it goes way beyond that. Great restaurants, markets, local spots. It's a really easy city to just explore and eat your way through. History. And then you've got all the historic stuff. Independence Hall, the Liberty Bell, Old City, which is going to be even more of a draw with everything happening for the 250th. Walkability. And what I like about Philly is it's really walkable. You can spend a day just wandering around Center City, Old City, and Rittenhouse and feel like you've actually experienced the city. Wawa. And honestly, at some point, you're probably going to end up at Wawa. It sounds silly, but it's one of those things that kind of becomes part of the experience. So you're not just coming here for soccer, you're coming to a city that's actually really easy to enjoy, and maybe even fall in brotherly love with it. And when you put all of that together, it starts to change how you think about planning this trip. So when you step back and look at all of this, you've got World Cup matches here in Philadelphia. You've got the America 250 celebrations happening at the same time. You've got easy access to New York City if you want to go bigger. And you've got a city that's just easier and usually more affordable to navigate. So for me, this isn't just a place to visit during the World Cup. It's one of the smartest places you can base your entire trip. You're not just planning around a game, you're planning a better overall experience. And if you want help putting this all together, I made a simple World Cup planning checklist. You can download that in the description. And if you're comparing different options, I've also broken down the US, Mexico, and Canada in other videos on this channel. Check them out here or in the description. Plan it right, and this could end up being a lot more than just a soccer trip. Let me know if you'll be coming to Philly for the World Cup. Maybe I'll meet you there. I'm Kelly, your trusted vacation agent, wishing you safe travels.